All right, welcome to another live episode of geekoutdoors.com. So this week, we're going to be talking about Facebook Watch, Disney streaming, and Amazon Android. So as it is every single week, there's always a lot of interesting news in the whole geek technology hemisphere, and one of which kind of like confused me at first. I saw the tag, it said Facebook Watch, so I'm thinking, wait, Facebook is releasing a watch, which wouldn't be surprising with all the areas that Facebook is actually investing in. Now, what Facebook Watch is, if you didn't know, is basically if you are on Facebook, there is a news feed that you get, which basically streams you news that is actually relevant to you. Okay, so that's something that Facebook has been pushing more and more. And now they're going to introduce a new tab just for like a minority of people right now, just a small percentage. It's called Facebook Watch, and basically it's very similar to the Facebook news feed, but except instead of just pure news, it's going to be focused on video, hence the word watch. Hey, good morning, Rose. How are you doing? Thanks for joining, Rose. And so the whole point of this is to get more video services on Facebook, but it's really deeper than that. And so the reason why I mentioned newsfeed earlier is because a lot of people are familiar with that. And so here, the Facebook Watch streams or videos, it's going to be personalized to you, you know, what you enjoy watching and stuff. And so it's going to have original content, you know, maybe very similar to YouTube as a matter of fact. But later on, it's going to follow the same model that YouTube and many other video services are doing, where it's going to offer like more paid videos in the future and more, I guess, mainstream, higher production type videos. And the reason that Facebook is doing this is quite simple. It's the main reason why video is becoming more and more popular and more important is because money. Okay, pure and simple, money. Money is the first reason why every single technology platform that you see, especially advertising, they're all going towards video online. And there's a reason for that, you know. So let me explain to you the monetary reasons, and let me explain to you why it's so important. So before we actually get into the money aspect of why video is so important, video as a medium is the most powerful medium to use, whether it would be for entertainment, whether it be for advertising, whatever it is. And the reason why is because we as humans are visual creatures. Okay, so if you think to yourself, like if you think of a memory or you think of a person's name, you're always going to be thinking in images, you know, in visual. Okay, even when you are reading a book, your mind will automatically translate the words into something visual. And so humans are already visual creatures. And so that's why whenever you see video, no matter what format, that usually catches our attention more. And also a lot of times it also inspires more imagination because it's very visual, because we ourselves are visual. Okay, so that's first and foremost. Psychologically, humans are visual creatures to begin with. Okay, so then when you transfer this to all these other mediums, well, obviously you're gonna make more money off more visual elements. And so normally whenever you see ads, okay, whether it's on Facebook, on Google, you'll see either text ads or also, especially on Facebook or Instagram, image ads, right? And those are fine, they still work. But video, it's where it's at. And so if you do any type of digital marketing advertising, like for example, if you're doing advertising using Google AdWords, which is how they advertise videos and to you on YouTube, okay, so whenever you're looking at any advertisements on YouTube, Google, or any of the websites, a lot of time it's Google AdWords underneath, okay, so just for people who aren't familiar with that. And so if you do any type of digital advertising, what you see now is video is becoming more and more of a thing that companies focus on as an ad, you know, as an ad medium, okay? And so if you do any type of Google AdWords advertising, you'll notice that the videos actually cost less than you actually doing traditional search ads, okay? And similarly, if you go on Facebook, if you do Facebook advertising, the videos are cheaper right now as well, but they also get the most views, they get the most retention time, and also more and more video is the best converting type of ads, okay? And so if you do any advertising, you would see that as well. And if you think about advertising on television and the movies, video is usually number one when it comes to converting, if you think about marketing terms. And so whenever you see video, more than likely it will catch your attention, and it will also make you a customer. That's what it does in the end. Okay, so in the end, the main reasons why all these companies focus on video advertising is it's the most powerful way to make you a customer, to make you loyal to their brand, and also to get your attention. So that's why Facebook is really going towards this, because if you look at their year-over-year growth, and a lot of this is all advertising, it's all money, okay? It's all marketing, okay? Lance, hey, what's going on? Good morning, Lance. And so, yeah, and I talk about this a lot because it's very important to all of these technology platforms. The way they make money is through marketing. The way they make money is through advertising. Otherwise, all of these platforms would cost you money. You would not be able to use Facebook, YouTube, Google, any of these services unless they were making money off advertising and marketing to you. Okay, so that's the reality. Okay, so a lot of people think, man, all of this should be free. It's not free. Somebody had to pay for all these services, and they're paying through the advertising and marketing that they're giving to you. And so what you're going to see in the very near future is you're going to see more and more video ads. Okay, and as I said, I do marketing behind the scenes, and so a lot of times in the whole digital marketing world, or even in the marketing world period, a lot of things that we look at, one of the main metrics is called CPC, which stands for cost per click. And a lot of people are familiar with that term. Like, for example, if you look at an ad and you click on it, that is considered a click. Now, there's more to it than that, but that's just in general terms. Now, the similar term to it in video is called CPV, or cost per view. And so that means whenever somebody's viewing your video, that's very similar to CPC. And also, you can also click on links on the videos itself, so that also counts as CPC. And so that's why Facebook is doing this with their whole Facebook Watch. And if you want to see why it's so important for Facebook to do this, as I mentioned earlier, Facebook ads, okay, when you go on Facebook, you're going to see a lot of advertising, even things that don't look like advertising, okay? If you are in the advertising world, and I mentioned this in the last video, you'll know what dark posts are, you'll know what carousel ads are, you'll also know the type of different conversions that you could get. You could do traffic, you could do PPE ads. Okay, so if you are familiar with Facebook advertising, you know exactly what I mean. And Facebook advertising, the advertising accounts for like 80% of actual revenues for Facebook. That's where they make their money. They make their money off of their advertising. And their ad platform, year-over-year growth, just this last quarter, May 2017, their Facebook ad platform, meaning if you wanted to serve ads on Facebook, you would have to use Facebook ads. It recorded about $9 billion in revenue. That's huge. And that's like a 50% year-over-year growth over the same time last year. And so it's actually huge that, the advertising, that's how they make money. And if you didn't know, Facebook owns Instagram. And so whenever you see Instagram ads, they're actually Facebook ads underneath it, okay? And Facebook actually has 1.32 billion active users daily. And so if you think about that, from a business point of view, a marketing point of view, that's a lot of eyeballs, that's a lot of potential for money. And so once they enter into the whole video realm, more and more video advertising through Facebook Watch, now they're going to be able to convert more and more into actual sales and actual customers. And so this is really, really important for Facebook, but obviously it's important for every single platform. And the biggest player right now, as you know, when it comes to video is Google. And Facebook, they are becoming more of a Google competitor than any other company, okay? Because Facebook has the audience, they have the reach, and most importantly, they have the data. If you're doing advertising, Facebook ads, Google AdWords is awesome. Don't get me wrong, it has tons of data, but with Facebook ads, it's extremely, extremely targeted, because the difference between, say, something like Google AdWords and Facebook ads is that Facebook ads is a social media platform, and so that's their primary thing, and so they can collect very highly targeted data. Because if you're on Facebook, let me give you an example, right? You share a post, and then all your friends share that other post, and Facebook can see what type of things that you're sharing. Okay, and so because of that, if you were doing advertising, you could advertise to a lot of people with similar interests. So say, for example, you love movies, right? You love sci-fi movies. And then when you put a post and everybody's clicking on that and sharing it, now if you were doing a Facebook ad, you could do what's called a custom audience, where Facebook has data on these people that like this type of stuff. And then if you create an ad, you could actually target custom audiences, and then you could create lookalike audiences from that. And what that means is a custom audience is people who think or like similar things, just to be very general. But then lookalike audiences, it could go way outside of that, and then it could look for more people who like similar things. And so when you're doing Facebook ads, that's why Facebook ads is so powerful. You get extremely targeted. And so when it comes to video, it's the sky's the limit. And so Facebook Watch, it's very powerful, and as I said a little bit earlier, you're going to see more and more video ads in the future on every single platform, so look out for it. And if you are a person who's thinking about doing business online, I really recommend that you learn how to do video. And so, you know, create a YouTube channel, learn how to do advertising, okay? Google AdWords and Facebook ads, those are the two most powerful. And then you could also learn other things such as Snapchat ads. Twitter has their own ad platform as well, and Amazon has Amazon ads as well. But the main thing that you want to take in from this is that video is going to become more and more prevalent, not only in like entertainment and education that we have right here, but also in advertising. So you're going to see a lot more video advertising in this year and in the future. And also, if you are an advertiser, I would get into video right now because it's cheap. Okay, and so later on, video advertising is going to be very, very expensive. Okay, so let me answer some of these questions. Rose, I'm using blocking host file to prevent some of these ads. Samuel S. Hello, everyone. What's up, guys? Yeah, and you know, Rose, I did want to talk about blocking ads, okay, because I'm on both sides. And so me being a user like most of us, we don't like ads, okay? They're annoying. Okay, let's just be real. Okay, I've been around since we had pop-up ads spamming you everywhere, right? But then when you get on the other side, and then like I said earlier, these services are not free. Okay, I mean, they have to make money somehow, right? I mean, like even right now, I'm doing this for free, but like they're running on Google servers, on YouTube servers, they have employees, you know, they have to get paid somehow. And so all these platforms, whether you're using Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't matter. They're not free. They have to make money somehow, and they make money through advertising. And so for me, I understand the value of advertising and marketing, because without it, you would be paying for absolutely everything. In the future, the internet will cost more. In the future, you're going to see that pretty much all your websites, you're going to have to pay to use. Okay, it's not going to be free like it is now. And if it is free, I can guarantee you 99% it has to have some type of advertising and marketing, because otherwise they would make no money, and then the website or the service would not exist anymore. And so for me, blocking advertising, I understand it. And so I always say, like, you know, block the type of advertising that you don't like, you know, like for sites that spam you or things that you don't agree with. And then for channels that you enjoy, like say for example, I would love it if you didn't block my YouTube advertising, because that's how I make a little bit of money. And so, you know, that's what I do. I mean, I don't use ad blocker at all, but then again, the sites that I visit, these are sites that I like, and so I'm glad to have advertising, so then I could support their channel. Okay, and me myself, as being a marketer on the other end, I see the value of advertising, because without it, a lot of businesses would not exist, and you would not have a lot of these amazing services, and you wouldn't have content creators like myself creating content, because there would be no service for us to actually create our content on. And so that's my thoughts on marketing, and I talk about marketing a lot because I really feel that it is important, okay? And so let me see what else it said. Rose, I'm working on another video for my channel using OpenShot. Thanks for the tutorial. Don't worry, I'm not blocking any thing on your channel. Thanks, Rose. Hey, Rose, and I tell this to all people who actually watch my channel. If you have a YouTube channel, please let me know. So then I could go check it out. And if it's something that I think it'll be cool and for the rest of us to actually look at, you know, I might give you a shout out on some of my videos. I don't normally do that, but I think, you know, it helps if it's something that I think a lot of us would enjoy. And it also helps, like, you know, if you are starting a YouTube channel, for the first time, it's difficult. And so sometimes, it really helps, like, if other people can be made more aware of your channel. And so if you have a YouTube channel, or you're beginning a YouTube channel, you could post it in the comments. Just don't leave links. Just say what the name is, and I'll look for it. And so if I think it's really something cool, and I think like our audience would like it, I'll go ahead and share it as well. And I'd also like to see some of your cool creations as well. I'm always interested in all the creativity from people all around the world. Okay, so Facebook Watch was the first thing. And so what you want to get out of that is that more videos are coming. More money is being made in advertising, and so just be prepared for more and more video ads on your Facebook feeds, on your Instagram. So just be prepared for that, okay? Okay, so second, related to video once again, is Disney streaming services. And so just recently, just this week, Disney announced that they will be releasing a streaming service in 2019, okay? So this is primarily going to be their movies, their other entertainment properties, because Disney owns a lot of companies. They own Marvel, of course, but they also own ESPN as well. And so they'll be able to offer ESPN streaming services. Now, the only bad thing is for all the companies that actually stream or have licensing agreements with Disney, like Netflix. As you notice, if you go to Netflix, there's a lot of Disney type movies and shows. Hey Gaza, hey, good morning Gaza, how's it going? So Disney is very powerful, and so with this, they're gonna, more than likely, they're gonna be pulling out of Netflix. And Netflix has already said, look, we're still in negotiations with Disney, because if they pull out of these other streaming networks, that's going to be a lot of lost revenue, because people love Disney properties, not only their movies, but also their animated features as well. Those are the most valuable IPs, intellectual properties, in the entertainment industry. It's what Disney owns. And obviously Disney owns Lucasfilm as well, which does Star Wars. And so Disney not offering their very valuable properties in other streaming services like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, or any of these other ones, Apple, that's huge. That's absolutely huge that they're going to be putting out. And so this is related directly with what I've been talking about. I think a few episodes ago, I talked about Netflix and why they are investing so much money in creating their own content, right? This is why. This is why companies like Netflix is, I think they're like in $20 billion in debt, because of investing in original content. But Amazon is doing it, Hulu is doing it, Google through their YouTube Red service is doing it, and Apple is definitely going to be doing it as well. This is why all these companies are creating original content, because a lot of the content previously, they would license it out from other companies like Disney. And so if they are creating their own content, it helps to not only prevent this from like affecting them really bad, like if they pull out and all these companies, they don't have any original content, their company is going to go out of business. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, they'll also be a competitor to these companies. So, like I have Netflix on right now, and this is a Netflix produced anime. Okay, so Netflix owns this. And so if anybody else wanted to show this, they would have to pay for the licensing fee. So effectively, all these technology companies are media companies. And so they're competing directly with Disney, Paramount, all these other media companies, Fox. And so all these companies are really battling each other, but they're also working with each other. And so whenever Disney provides their own streaming service in 2019, I could see a couple of things happening. The first thing is companies like Netflix, their stock shares have already gone down by like $8 since this was announced. And so other companies that have Disney properties, which there are a lot of companies that license Disney properties, their value is going to go down. But by the time 2019 rolls around, these companies like Netflix, they've invested so much money in original content, then it's smart for Disney to do this because they know it's coming. But what's going to happen, the second thing that's going to happen is the cost for streaming services is going to go up. Okay, that's for sure. And so it's going to cost you more to pay for streaming services. Right now in the United States for Netflix, I think it's about $10 I think, per month, 10 to 15. And Hulu and all of these services, they're normally about $20, or less, okay? But you can expect in the next few years, Disney, after they release their streaming service, by then it's probably going to cost you anywhere from $20 to $30 for your streaming services. And then later on, the streaming services, as a lot of people are already doing, they're cutting the cord and cable. So guess what? These will be equivalent to cable prices in the future. Okay, that's where the industry is heading. And that's why it's so important for companies like Netflix to produce their own content that they actually own, okay, that they are the providers of content and not just like the person who takes content and then gives it to you, but they have to pay a licensing fee, okay? And so what did Gaza say? Gaza, it's a great idea, so as long as the production quality is high. Yes, I do agree with you, Gaza. Competition is good in that case. For example, Inhuman is great asset, but the production quality is awful. Yeah, Inhumans, I wasn't really... that really didn't catch my interest. I mean, the trailer looked horrible, and you're right, the production quality looked bad, But then again, in the whole entertainment industry, there's varying degrees of quality, Right now, I mentioned this many times, my favorite company right now is Netflix when it comes to streaming, when it comes to entertainment. I think they are top tier. Okay, I would rank Amazon second behind that. Their original production is going up, and then Hulu, and then I would rank YouTube, Google. They're just barely starting, and so I'm not sure. They have released some original movies, and so right now I don't think they're there yet. Okay, but Netflix is the top. Now when Disney starts providing their streaming services, I think they're going to have real competition on their hands. Okay, Rose said Geek is planning to compete with Netflix. Rose, it's so funny you said that because actually, and you know this because I talked about this on my last episode, and anybody who watches my channel knows that my channel, it's a variety channel. And so what I do is I follow a similar model that actually media companies like Netflix or TV channels or even movie companies do. They produce a variety of content, okay, but it's very focused content. So in the future, I think long term on this, okay, if you look at my channel right now, I have like over 500 published videos, but in total, I have 624 videos, most of which are unpublished, and you can't see that unless you subscribe to my website or you become a Patreon supporter. Okay, so for me, I'm thinking long term, and since I do marketing in the back end, I could see where the industry is heading. And so for me, in the next 2 to 5 years, you're gonna see people like myself being content creators. We are gonna be making a lot more money in the future. Why? Because people who produce content, they will be advertised on all these other platforms. You just think about services like Apple TV or especially Google TV, or where you have the YouTube app. Okay, people are watching more and more of their their YouTube content, just an example, on their TV. And so if you are a content creator, imagine in the future, right? You're watching a TV show or a movie about technology, right? And your content, like for example, my content, which is related to technology, is related to that movie or show that you just watched. And guess what? Right after the actual show is over, it's on the big screen TV. It'll recommend, just like YouTube, when you're on YouTube, it recommends things that are similar to it. And so guess what? You will be able to make money through people watching their TV. So that's like the long-term thinking that I have. And remember, once again, video is going to become the dominant advertising medium. Okay, it already is in TV and movies. But on the internet, video is still not the dominant advertising marketing platform, but it will be. And so for anybody who does not have a YouTube channel, or you don't have any type of video content, if you're thinking about making money, okay, actually making a living or having some side money in the future, I recommend you learn how to do video right now. I recommend you learn how to create video content. And if you're interested, I recommend, as I said earlier, you learn how to do digital marketing. You learn how to do digital advertising. Google AdWords, Facebook ads. Learn those, learn video, and you will be well positioned in the future. And so in future videos, I might be showing you a tour of my multi-million-dollar, I don't know, trailer home or something. I'm just Just being funny. But a lot of the reasons why I do this because I enjoy it, but I also think about the long-term benefits as well. So there is a monetary benefit to doing this. And so that's why I highly recommend that if any of you are creative or you're thinking about doing something, do YouTube channel. And then later on, you would thank yourself for doing that, because there's going to be a lot of money being made in the marketing space, more than there's ever been. I mean, if you keep up with advertising, you know, I mean, it's billions of dollars. I mean, billions. You know, Facebook, I can't remember, it's like 50-something billion dollars from advertising, if I remember correctly. And that's just Facebook. Google AdWords is even more than that. So imagine if you yourself was a content creator, and then you yourself was also a digital marketer as well. You would make insane amounts of money in the future. And if you're the one who created your content, just like the movie studios, and that's why I use this example, just like Disney, just like Netflix, just like all these other entertainment companies, they own the content that they create. So in the future, if you created videos like myself, I own these videos. So in the future, I own the intellectual property. So as more and more of us watch our digital content on TV, later on, you might be able to create licensing deals with other companies. Okay, so Disney streaming, Facebook Watch, they're all related to video. They're all related to marketing, sales, and business. And they're all related to where the future is heading. And so, I'm going to talk about that almost every video, because I do want to stress why that's important. And I do want to stress why, if you are thinking about doing video, just do it. Okay, just do it. So Samuel says, eager to watch your multi-million tour. You know, Samuel, I love watching those videos because, and this on another tangent, okay? Because you see a lot of advertising, or you might, you see a lot of advertising online for like house tours and car tours and stuff like that. That's just great marketing, okay? Because they know that people will be interested in that right away because it catches their attention. But the reality is, if you were to see these advertisements, do some more research, okay? So, because there's some of these that they're not really who they say they are, and I'm not saying that's everyone, but if you ever do see video advertising, and a lot of them, the reason why they show you the big houses, the cars, all this stuff, the reason why they show you that is because from a marketing standpoint, when people see that, they automatically, number one, not only does it catch your attention, but they automatically equate that with success and making a lot of money. Okay, so from a marketer standpoint, that's how you do it. That's why so much of the advertising that you see online, it's very similar. That's not by accident. That's by design. So psychologically, when people see things, okay, it catches their attention. But the reality is, if any of you have ever done business, okay, it takes a long time. It's something that you have to learn, okay? And what a lot of these advertisers or marketers are not telling you, okay, is that it took them normally a while to get there. And so one way that you could see whether or not these people might be legitimate or not, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, but if you look at an advertisement, okay, and then obviously you might go to the website or whatever, but maybe you might do a Google search on this particular person or the group. Okay, if you can't find a lot of history on these people, then I would kind of be, you know, more wary. And also, if the people selling you their programs and their services, if they're not actively doing it right now, okay, so I'm just giving you a little heads up on this. If you see somebody marketing their products and services, and they say you could make millions of dollars in a short amount of time, but yet what you see they're doing, they're not doing that. They're actually selling their product to make money to you, so then they can make money. So just a little FYI. So the reason why a lot of these marketers advertise in a similar way is because it gets people's attention, and then it allows them to make sales quicker. Okay, but in the future, if you ever see that, which you will, just kind of do some research. So for me, when I do advertising, I will be, of course, I do promote myself, I do promote my brand, and later on I will be promoting my own products and stuff. But if anybody will look at me and then do research, they'll see that I have hundreds of videos, I have thousands of videos. By the time I start selling more of my own brand and products, I have a track record, okay? So you could actually look at my first video and I'm a real person. And so that's very important. So make sure that if you do see this advertising and marketing, just do a little bit of research, okay? And Gaza Imp is asking, what do you think of syndication? You know, I don't know much about that, Gaza. I mean, when it comes to marketing, I think in very general terms, okay? Create content, own the actual rights to the content, and then license it out later on. Now, in terms of syndication and stuff like that, that's more of a complex level. It's more of a higher level. But in general, this is how it works in every single one of these media companies. They create content, okay? They own the rights to it. Then later on, they sell it or license it out. That's how they make money. And any of these companies, any of them. You know, if you look at Disney, it's not just their entertainment properties. Look at how many toys and stuff that they have, how many products. They license that out. That's how you make money. But it started the same process for every one of them. Create something, own the rights to it, and then sell it or license it out. That's how you make money. That's how you can make money over and over and over. Okay, so that's why I say this is something, especially in the digital age, that we could do ourselves. Okay, so just make sure that whatever platform that you're on, that you might want to read the legalese, the legal stuff, to make sure that they do not own your content. Okay, so at least for YouTube, as far as I know, you create the content, you own the content. Okay, unless you had other agreements with other companies that they own the actual rights to the content. Okay, so that's very important. So let's go ahead and move on to the last piece of news, and I titled it Amazon Android. Why? Because Andy Rubin, okay, if you know who Andy Rubin is often referred to as the father of Android, because Andy Rubin, with his previous company Danger, they are the ones who created Android. And as you know, Google later on bought Danger, so they effectively bought Android, and then it's open source, right? So they bought Android, and as you know, Andy Rubin actually did go on to work for Google for a few years, then he quit. And now he has his own company, and he's actually releasing a new phone, a new Android phone, and it's going to be called the PH1, and I think his company is called the Essential Product Company. Okay, and when I first heard of this, at first I was excited because it's Andy Rubin, and then I saw the PH1 phone, and it wasn't really anything spectacular to me, and it's going to be about $700 in the US, so it's going to be pretty expensive, and it didn't really catch my attention, to be honest with you. It does have some cool cameras and stuff, but it didn't really catch my attention. But just this week, Andy Rubin and his company Essential Products actually they got a round of investments of $300 million, of Series B round of investments, and one of the biggest investors was Amazon. And so why is this important? Well, as you remember, I don't know if you remember, Amazon did release an Android phone. It was called the Amazon Fire phone, if I remember correctly. That would coincide with the Kindle Fire product lines, and that failed miserably. It was absolutely horrible. You know, it was basically an underpowered Android phone with the Amazon skin on top. The performance was horrible. So basically just a bad first round of experience for Amazon. And so by Amazon becoming an investor, and this is just my thoughts, with Amazon becoming an investor with Andy Rubin's company, they're actually able to test market this out through Andy Rubin's company. Because Andy Rubin, obviously he knows Android, but he also knows the phone industry. And so if the Essentials phone becomes successful, the PH1, then not only can Amazon learn a lot from it, but maybe they might buy his company. Or maybe, more than likely, knowing Amazon, they'll see how they do it there, then they'll create their own Amazon phone. Okay, so that gets in the whole advertising as well. If you sell anything on Amazon, whether it be through FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, or if you have digital products, what Amazon likes to do is they like to use all the people selling on their platform to collect data, and then later on, Amazon actually becomes your competitor, and they will outcompete you because they own that platform. Okay, and so that's what I think they're going to do with this recent round. Now, I still don't think it's going to be a successful phone for $700, but with this $300 million investment, I really think the phone will, more than likely, it's going to get more features, and most importantly, it'll be cheaper. as well. So that's really important. And with Amazon being an investor, they'll get a lot more marketing push. So they'll be able to advertise this on Amazon's website. But there's also some other investors, and I want to talk about this as well. One of the biggest investors on this is a company called Tencent, Tencent. Now, if you're not familiar with this company, it's a Chinese conglomerate. And Tencent is huge, absolutely huge. Now, if you've never heard of Tencent and you're a gamer, you probably heard of this little game called League of Legends. Okay, so Tencent is basically the owner of Riot Games, which creates that game. They're a 92% stakeholder. And let me show you how big this is, because you know, when I think about like companies and all these other things, I think about it internationally. Okay, so a lot of times in the United States, we only think about United States companies, right? But China is absolutely huge, and I want to show you why Tencent is so important and why they're so big. Okay, so Tencent, just to give you the scope of how large this company is. Okay, so let's first talk about how big this company is compared to companies that we, at least here in the United States, that people are familiar with. So Electronic Arts, EA, is probably the largest gaming company in the US, and it's going to be in the top 10 around the world. Okay, so Electronic Arts is actually, as of 2017, their net worth, their entire net worth, including all their assets, is $27.4 billion. That is how much they are worth. That's a lot of money. Okay, you would expect that being a large game company. Okay, and then let's go ahead and go to Disney, because we talked about that earlier. We know how big Disney is, but how big really is Disney with everything that they own? Well, as of right now, Disney, their net worth is, I think, about $178 billion. That's a lot of money, right? So just take that. EA, one of the largest gaming companies in the world, the biggest in North America for sure. And then you take Disney, arguably probably the most successful media company in the world, $178 billion for Disney, and then $24 billion for Electronic Arts. Let's compare that to Tencent, the Chinese conglomerate. What is Tencent's net worth as of August 2017? Their net worth is, I'm sorry, my computer, my laptop isn't that great. Okay, so as of August 2017, Tencent, its market value is $397 billion. This company is huge, okay? And just think about that for a moment. So if you think about all these Chinese companies, they are in a lot of places. They are invested in a lot of areas. And so Tencent also owns WeChat as well, which is the most popular chat service in China, which has 700 million users. That's a lot. That's more than double the population of the United States. That's just their social media chat program, okay? And so Tencent is huge, but there's other Chinese and Asian conglomerates that are big as well. But that just tells you the amount of money that is coming into all these markets. And if you didn't already know, in the US, if you go to movies, which a lot of people do, you probably heard of AMC, right? Well, AMC, the majority stakeholder, is a Chinese company. And so you're going to see more international investments, primarily from China, because they have the largest population and they have a lot of very wealthy companies. But you're also going to see investments from other countries like India. Okay, India, as you know, is the largest second population in the world, but in terms of technology, business, it's growing extremely fast. If you look at the Forbes list, near the top 20, there's a lot of people from China, from India. Okay, and so you're going to see a lot of more foreign investments, if they're not already there, in these companies. So just kind of keep that in mind. Whenever you are using any of your products or services, more than likely it's owned by a lot of the investors are actually international investors. So what that means is you'll probably see a lot of new services from other countries that you've never seen before. Like, for example, with Tencent, they've been trying to get WeChat into areas outside of China. Okay, so you might see more of those services together, and you know, you might not be familiar with them. So Tencent being an investor with Andy Rubin phone, that's huge, because I really feel that, once again, if Andy Rubin is successful with this phone, guess what? Not only is Amazon going to use that, but so is Tencent. They'll be able to market this phone in the Chinese market. Okay, so anyway, it's kind of off in different tangent, but I'm just trying to think of like the overall value, why they are investing in this company. That's why. There's huge potential markets, not only here domestically, and not only for domestic companies in the United States, but companies all around the world, okay? And very large markets, okay? So let me see this. So the Chinese companies are in league with the Chinese government. Yeah, when it comes to, Rose, when it comes to international business, it's very complex, okay? Because and pretty much every company, it's international. Okay, you have to be. Like, for example, people in the United States are familiar with Budweiser, right? Anheuser-Busch. They're not owned by a United States company anymore. They're owned by InBev, if I'm not mistaken. That's a European company. Okay, so there's not very many companies that are not part of an international conglomerate. Okay, so whenever you think that your brand is domestic, it's probably not. It's owned by bigger, larger international conglomerates. Okay, and you did mention another thing. You said, sounds like the Chinese Amazon, it became your competitor. Well, there is a company that's actually, their net worth is, I think, higher than Tencent. In China, there's a company called Alibaba, owned by Jack Ma. And Jack Ma, if I remember correctly, he's the second wealthiest person in China, and he's one of the wealthiest persons in the entire world. His company, Alibaba, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're worth more than Tencent, a little bit more, or the same. They're worth almost $400 billion. And Alibaba, if you're not familiar, for a lot of people who sell things online, specifically like Amazon, FBA, they will order things from China and or abroad. And Alibaba is basically a marketplace where you could go buy products made from people all around the world, okay, different companies all around the world. So it's like the Amazon for wholesalers. Okay, but they also sell their own products, or they're also like Amazon as well. Okay, so yeah, if you look up Alibaba, they're absolutely powerful. They're huge. They're bigger than Amazon, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're bigger than Amazon. And so Alibaba is pretty popular all around the world. And so if you do any type of online products sales, more than likely you heard of Alibaba. And so it's everywhere. It's absolutely massive when you think about how widespread all these companies are. And once again, I do want to stress, all these companies that you think about, even if you think they are domestic, they're probably not. They're all part of international conglomerates. And as I said earlier, this is very complex because every single country has different laws. Some countries have non-compete laws. And some companies, they won't even let them in. Like, for example, Google search, China effectively blocked them out. And so the #1 search engine in China is Baidu. Okay, and so anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. The whole Amazon phone, Andy Rubin, with Amazon being an investor, and more importantly, companies like Tencent being an investor. So I'm really interested to see how this turns out, because with all this investment, that's a lot, in my opinion. That's a lot of money for a company that has not been proven. There's bigger plans. So I really am interested to see how this performs when it's actually finally released and goes into production. Okay, so those are the 3 things that I wanted to talk about today. So Facebook Watch, which is their new video feed service, and right now it's only for a select part of your group, but it will be spread out to everybody on Facebook. Secondly, Disney providing their own streaming services, and finally, Andy Rubin with his new phone with investors like Amazon and Tencent. And so really interesting stuff. And now we actually have our bonus round where we could talk about whatever. And to be honest, I didn't really have anything in mind at this point outside of what I just talked about earlier. But I will say for Linux stuff, I actually am trying out what can I say? I'm trying out a new theme, or not theme. I'm trying out some new things in Linux. Okay, I think I've been talking about this before. And what I really want to do with some of my Linux tutorials, a lot of my Linux tutorials, they're very general. Okay, and that's for a reason, because I'm a general user. And so what I might want to do is, you've probably seen it already, I had a OpenShot video tutorial earlier this week. And so in the next few months and stuff, you'll probably be seeing more focused tutorials on certain I would say certain tools that I use in Linux. Okay, so if you've seen a lot of my videos, I do talk about the tools, but I don't really go in depth. And so OpenShot is going to be the first thing that I talk about, because I do use OpenShot. I've used it for quite a while, and I think it's the best video editing tool for people who are beginning and even to medium. Okay, so I'm going to start with that, and later on I might move around to other Linux tools, and I'll get more in depth in those areas, because I really feel, you know, once you get into Linux, there's so many powerful tools available, and pretty much most of them are free. Okay, and so most of them, if you do really stick to them and learn them in depth, then you are not really entirely reliant on tools in Windows or Mac. Okay, so that's the whole point of it, you know, and I have talked about this many times before, where I think that for Linux, a lot of what you already do in your computer on Windows or Mac, you could do it in Linux. Okay, but there's just a few tools that I think everybody, for the most part, in Windows, if they're using Windows, they have concerns about, and one of which is video editing. I think for people who do it professionally, of course they're gonna have professional tools, but I'm not really referring to those people. I'm referring more to the everyday user, and also people who really want to get into this type of stuff. Okay, so video editing is something that's really important, and maybe after I do the OpenShot, I might do a Kdenlive, because if you're seeing a lot of my videos, I don't do a lot of editing on it, because that's not really the whole purpose of my channel. I don't care as much about the video editing quality. I care more about the content. Okay, but I do feel like the video editing tools that are provided in Linux, specifically OpenShot and Kdenlive, they can allow you to do some really advanced, sophisticated stuff. And so maybe in the future you'll also see a quote-unquote better editing on my part, because you know, I'm always constantly learning using these tools. So look forward to that, and hopefully people will actually have their own thoughts on these tools as well, and maybe help other people who are interested in using them. And so that's it for this particular episode. I didn't see a lot of comments for today, because maybe some of the topics, it's really not worthy of discussion for this one. Let me see. Rose says, there's a new update with Ubuntu on their kernel. It broke my OS on my laptop. Then I sent a bug report to Ubuntu to fix it. Awesome, Rose. Good, good. I love this, because I love it when we have some discussion, because a lot of my live episodes, they're really based upon the discussion back and forth. And so in that case, that brings up a really good point, Rose. And for people who are brand new to Linux, okay, it can be scary. I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy. You know, there is a learning curve. But I've said it before, I still think, you know, distros like Linux Mint, it's easier to use than Windows. Okay, but one of the things that you do have to learn is how things work. Like, for example, Rose mentioned a good point. There are system updates that can potentially break your operating system, and most of the times it's kernel updates. Okay, because the kernel level, that is the core of every operating system. Okay, and so the great thing is, just as Rose pointed out, she had a problem, she sent it out, and normally in the Linux community, especially if it's one that has a large user base like Ubuntu, they normally get out fixes really quick. It's not like the Windows where they have to do a lot of UAT testing and stuff, because for Windows, I just want to mention something. For commercial products, okay, like Windows operating system or Apple Mac, people are probably wondering, how come it takes so long for updates to get pushed out? Well, let me explain to you why, okay? Because it's not just your computer that could be affected. Windows or Mac OS is used on millions and millions, especially Windows, millions of computers, and on corporate systems. That's where a lot of their money is made. So they have to do a lot more UAT testing, okay? And if you send something out, okay, without making sure that it works for the majority of your users, then not only can you break systems and cost companies billions of dollars, but you could actually get sued as well. Okay, so because some of these companies, they actually have really strict legal agreements on even their versions of their software, and also uptime as well. There's things called SLAs. okay, which is service level availability, if I remember correctly. So there's things such as that, but that's why it takes so much longer for patches and stuff to come out on operating system like Windows, okay? But sometimes there are exceptions like critical security updates, but that's usually the reason why, you know. I'm not like on Linux, because Linux as a whole, it's open source, it is community based. Of course, there are Linux commercial distributions as well, but because of the nature of Linux, that's why fixes come out a lot quicker. But there's also some drawbacks to that as well, because it could break stuff, okay? But I really think Linux Mint, which is based on Ubuntu, I really think they do the best when it comes to releasing things that won't break your system. Thank you, Samuel. Service level agreement. Thank you. It's been so long since I've actually done that, because my first technology, I've worked in a lot of technology companies, and that's one thing that we always had. We always had SLA, which is service level agreement, and then we also had SOPs as well, which is standard operating procedures. And there's so many other acronyms when you are in the whole business side or in big companies, okay? But that SLA is one of the most important things, okay? Because otherwise companies would not invest in your products if they do not have a high uptime. Okay, so that's it for this episode. I was going to end it earlier, but Rose brought something up. And so if there's nothing else in this episode, I just want to thank everybody again for joining this live episode. And if you did have any ideas or comments, you know, or maybe any other future ideas for episodes, leave them in the comments area below. Normally, as you've seen on any of my videos, I do have subjects that I talk about, and I do like to keep things fresh. And so, you know, I go off the discussions that we have. But if you had any ideas for any future episodes, you can leave that as well. And if it sounds cool, then I'll go ahead and make that episode. Gaza, thank you. Thanks for joining, all of you. Bye, Rose. And so if you did get value out of these videos, leave a like and subscribe. And if you did want to support my channel further, you could do that at patreon.com/geekoutdoors. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on another live episode.